The showroom doors of Elite Autos burst open, and Leo Kane, 42, strode in, his tousled hair and velvet vest screaming Johnny Depp, scarf, rings, and all. Every eye judged him a broke artist, unworthy of the gleaming luxury cars. Manager Sophia sneered, "Our clients have profiles," dismissing him as a nobody. But when Leo, unfazed, demanded the $250,000 Aurora X and dialed the owner, her smugness crumbled. "Who are you?" she snapped, as his call connected. A sly grin lit his face, hiding a secret that would flip the room upside down. Why was he so calm? What power did he hold? Dive into this electrifying tale of bias and revelation. Like, share, and subscribe to catch more stories that expose truth and spark change. Hit the bell. Don't miss the next twist. The showroom of Elite Autos was a gleaming shrine to wealth, its polished cars basking under pinpoint spotlights, each one a silent dare to dream bigger. Leo Kane, 42, stood by a ruby-red sports car, his tousled hair catching the glow of chandeliers as he toyed with his father's engraved fountain pen. His velvet vest, loose linen shirt, and scarf marked him as an oddity in this world of tailored suits, and the employees' glances, some amused, some scornful, confirmed it. Sophia Bennett, the steely manager, had already written him off as a dreamer, her sharp blue eyes betraying a mix of irritation and unease. Leo's bold move, claiming he'd call the owner, had rattled her, and now the air crackled with unspoken stakes. Sophia clutched her clipboard, her forced smile as brittle as glass. "Let's be practical," she said, her voice tight but professional. "Our pre-owned section has options that suit your situation. Reliable sedans, compact SUVs, even a hybrid. Perfect for someone not looking to overextend." Leo's lips curled into a lopsided grin, his sunglasses now dangling from his shirt. "My situation?" he said, his tone playful but edged with challenge. He leaned against his sports car, rings glinting as he tapped the hood. "Come on." "Sophia, spell it out. What's my situation look like to you?" Her cheeks flushed, but she didn't back down. "I'm saying you seem practical," she replied, her voice clipped. "Our high-end models are for clients with verified financial profiles. I'm steering you toward a smarter choice." Leo chuckled, the sound warm but piercing. "Smarter choice, huh? Sounds like you're steering me out the door. You see a guy with a scarf and think, no way he's got the cash. Am I warm?" The showroom's buzz faltered. Marcus, the young salesman wiping down a nearby coupe, froze, his cloth suspended. His eyes flicked to Leo, a mix of admiration and nerves. He'd seen Sophia shut down customers before, but Leo was playing a different game. Two employees by the coffee station whispered, one muttering, "This guy's got guts," her tone tinged with intrigue. Sophia's smile vanished, her patience fraying. "I've been in this business 10 years, she snapped, stepping closer, her heels clicking sharply. "I know our clientele. You're wasting my time, and frankly, you're not fooling anyone with this act." "Act?" Leo's brow arched, his scarf swaying as he straightened. "That's rich. You're the one putting on a show, Sophia. Tell me, what's the profile for a guy like me? Broke artist? Wannabe rock star?" Her jaw tightened, her clipboard a lifeline. "I'm protecting our standards," she said, her voice low, controlled. "You don't strike me as someone shopping for a $200,000 car. If you're not serious, I have actual clients waiting." "Actual clients," Leo repeated, his voice soft but cutting. "You love that phrase. Let's test it. Show me your best car, the one you'd never dream of pitching to a scruffy guy like me." Sophia blinked, thrown off. "Our flagship is the Aurora X," she said, gesturing to a silver coupe across the room, its curves gleaming like liquid metal. "It's $250,000, fully customized, limited edition. Not exactly your vibe." Leo sauntered toward the Aurora X, his boots scuffing the floor, drawing every eye. He ran a hand along its hood, his rings tapping lightly. "Now that's a work of art," he said, almost to himself. "Mind if I take a peek inside?" Sophia's eyes flashed, her voice sharp. "Don't touch the vehicles," she said, striding forward. "They're for qualified buyers only. You need to pre-qualify, credit checks, financials, the works." Leo turned, his grin undimmed. "Qualified, huh? You're awfully sure I don't make the cut. Ever think you're reading the wrong script?" Marcus, now openly watching, bit his lip, his eyes darting to Sophia. He'd overheard her dismiss students, freelancers, anyone who didn't scream wealth, but Leo's confidence was electric. A female employee nearby whispered to her colleague, "He's pushing her buttons," her tone a mix of awe and nerves. Sophia's patience snapped. "Enough," she said, her voice low, venomous. "I don't know what you're playing at, but this isn't a stage for your little drama. If you're not buying, I'm calling security." "Security?" Leo's brow shot up, his tone almost amused. "Before we get to the fun part, come on, Sophia. Let's make a deal. I want the Aurora X. Right now. Cash. What's the next step?" Her lips parted, but no sound came. She glanced at Marcus, who looked away, then back at Leo. "Cash," she stammered, her voice faltering. "You're not serious." "Dead serious," Leo said, his eyes locking with hers. "Go on, run the numbers. Or better yet, call your boss. Tell them Leo Kane's ready to drop $250,000. Sophia's face paled, her clipboard trembling. "You can't just," she started, but Leo cut her off, his voice velvet smooth. "Can't I?" he said, pulling out his phone with a theatrical flourish. "Let's make it easy. I'll call Laura Hayes myself. She'll sort this out." "Who's Laura Hayes?" Sophia demanded, her voice shaking, her hand hovering over her radio. Leo scrolled through his contacts, his grin electric. "Regional director. My old pal. Loves a good plot twist." He lifted the phone to his ear. "Hey Laura, it's Leo. I'm at Elite Autos, having a little standoff with Sophia. Can you swing by? Things are getting spicy." The showroom fell silent, the air thick with tension. Marcus stepped closer, his voice a whisper. "Sophia, maybe don't call security," he said, his eyes wide. I think he's legit." Sophia shot him a glare, but her hand froze on the radio. "Legit," she hissed. "He's bluffing, Marcus. Nobody like him buys an Aurora X." Leo pocketed his phone, leaning back against the Aurora X, his scarf a flag of defiance. "Bluffing, ha," he said, his eyes twinkling. "Stick around, Sophia. You're about to learn something." The employees exchanged glances, the buzz of curiosity now a roar. A customer browsing nearby paused, sensing the drama. Sophia's confidence crumbled, her eyes darting to the doors as if expecting salvation or ruin. Leo's calm certainty was a storm brewing, and the showroom braced for the lightning strike that would change everything. The showroom of Elite Autos pulsed with a restless energy, the gleaming cars standing as silent witnesses to the unfolding drama. Leo Kane, 42, leaned casually against the silver Aurora X, his tousled hair and velvet vest a stark contrast to the polished opulence around him. His father's engraved fountain pen twirled between his fingers, a quiet tether to his purpose. Sophia Bennett, the manager, stood a few feet away, her blazer crisp but her composure fraying. Her sharp blue eyes darted between Leo and the radio clipped to her belt. Her earlier confidence eroded by his bold claim to call Laura Hayes, the regional director. The air was thick with anticipation. Every employee and stray customer now an unwitting audience to a showdown that felt like theater. Sophia's voice was low, her tone a mix of defiance and doubt. "You're wasting everyone's time," she said, her clipboard trembling slightly. "Nobody just calls the regional director. If you're trying to prove a point, it's not working." Leo's lopsided grin widened, his sunglasses dangling from a shirt. "Not working," he said, his voice warm but laced with challenge. "Seems like I've got your attention, Sophia. That's a start." He tapped the Aurora X's hood, his rings glinting. "So, what's it gonna be? You gonna sell me this car or keep playing gatekeeper?" Her jaw tightened, her patience splintering. "I told you," she snapped, stepping closer. her heels clicking sharply. You need to pre-qualify. Financials, credit checks, the process. You can't just walk in and demand a $250,000 car. Leo tilted his head, his scarf swaying. Demand? He said, feigning surprise. I'm asking nicely. Cash on the table, no fuss. You're the one making it complicated. Marcus, the young salesman hovering nearby, shifted uncomfortably, his eyes flicking to Leo. He'd caught Sophia's dismissive routine before, but Leo's unshakable calm was something else, magnetic, almost dangerous. A female employee, Tina, whispered to her colleague. He's not backing down. Who is this guy? Her tone held a mix of curiosity and unease. Sophia's eyes flashed, her voice rising. This isn't a game, she said, her clipboard a shield. You're disrupting my showroom. If you don't leave now, I'm calling security. Security? Leo's brow arched, his tone teasing but pointed. For a guy who just wants to buy your best car? That's a bold move, Sophia. Sure you want to roll those dice? The showroom fell silent, the air taut as a bowstring. Marcus stepped forward, his voice hesitant. Sophia. Maybe we should hear him out, he said, his eyes darting to Leo. He seems serious. Sophia shot him a glare, her voice venomous. Stay out of this, Marcus. He's bluffing. Nobody like him has that kind of money. Leo chuckled, unfazed, his scarf a flag of defiance. Nobody like me, huh? You're doubling down on that, aren't you? Tell you what, let's make it fun. If Laura says I'm legit, you owe me a coffee. If I'm bluffing, I'll walk out, no fuss. Sophia's lips parted, her confidence crumbling. You're ridiculous, she muttered, but her hand hovered over her radio, poised to call for backup. Last chance. Leave, or I'm done being polite. Polite? Leo's grin turned sharp, his voice dropping. You stop being polite when you size me up at the door. But go ahead, call security. Let's see how that plays out. The tension was palpable, every eye locked on the standoff. Tina, now openly staring, whispered, he's calling her bluff. This is insane. A customer browsing a sedan nearby paused, his phone half raised, as if ready to record. Sophia's hand gripped the radio, her voice shaking but resolute. Fine, she said, pressing the button. Security, we have a disruptive guest in the showroom. Please escort him out. Marcus's eyes widened, his voice a whisper. Sophia, wait. But Leo raised a hand, his grin electric. Hold that thought, he said, pulling out his phone again. Laura's probably pulling into the lot right now. Let's give her a minute to save you some trouble. Sophia's face paled, her radio crackling with the guard's response. On our way, Miss Bennett. She turned to Leo, her voice a hiss. You're not fooling anyone. Laura Hayes doesn't just drop everything for a nobody. Nobody. Leo's eyes twinkled, his tone velvet smooth. That's a hell of an assumption. Ever think you might have misread the room? The showroom door swung open, and a woman in a sleek navy suit strode in, her auburn hair pulled into a tight bun. Laura Hayes, 40, exuded quiet authority, her sharp green eyes scanning the scene. She spotted Leo, and a wry smile broke her professional mask. Leo Kane, she said, her voice warm but edged with amusement. Causing trouble already? Leo's grin widened, his scarf swaying as he stepped forward. Just keeping things lively, Laura. Good to see you. The room froze. Sophia's clipboard slipped, clattering to the floor. Her eyes darted between Leo and Laura, her voice barely a whisper. You know him? Laura's smile turned sharp, her gaze locking onto Sophia. Know him? Leo's the new owner of Elite Autos. I'd say you've just met your boss. Gasps rippled through the showroom. Marcus's jaw dropped, his suspicion confirmed. Tina's colleague whispered, no way, her voice a mix of shock and awe. The customer with the phone started filming, his eyes wide. Sophia's face drained of color, her voice trembling. Owner, she stammered, stepping back. I had no idea. Leo's grin softened, but his eyes held a quiet intensity. That's the point, Sophia. I wanted to see how you treat someone who doesn't look like they belong. Gotta say, I'm a little disappointed." Laura crossed her arms, her tone firm. "Sophia, you and I need to talk. But first, Leo, what's the play here?" Leo twirled his fountain pen, his voice calm but commanding. "Let's get everyone together," he said, his eyes sweeping the room. "Time for a chat about how Elite Autos does business." Sophia's shoulders slumped, her clipboard forgotten on the floor. Marcus exchanged a glance with Tina, his voice a whisper. "This is gonna change everything." The showroom buzzed with nervous energy, employees and customers alike sensing a seismic shift. Leo stood tall, his scarf a banner of defiance, ready to unravel the culture he'd inherited, one assumption at a time. 111. The showroom of Elite Autos felt like a stage after the curtain had fallen, the air heavy with shock and unspoken questions. Leo Kane, 42, stood at the center, his tousled hair and velvet vest now commanding every eye. No longer the eccentric outsider, but the unveiled owner of the dealership. His father's engraved fountain pen rested in his pocket, a quiet reminder of the values driving his mission. Sophia Bennett, her blazer still crisp but her confidence shattered, stood frozen, her dropped clipboard a symbol of her unraveling authority. Laura Hayes, the regional director, surveyed the scene with a mix of amusement and steel, her green eyes flicking between Leo and the stunned employees. The revelation of Leo's identity had flipped the script, and the showroom buzzed with whispers, every gaze locked on the man who'd turned their world upside down. Sophia's voice was a whisper, her face ashen. I didn't know," she stammered, her hands twisting nervously. "Mr. Kane, I'm so sorry. I thought." "You thought I was a nobody," Leo finished, his tone calm but firm, his lopsided grin gone. He stepped closer, his scarf swaying, his rings glinting under the chandeliers. "That's the problem, Sophia. You didn't ask. You assumed." Laura crossed her arms, her voice sharp. "Sophia, you've got some explaining to do. Judging a customer, let alone the owner, based on appearances. That's not how we operate." Sophia's eyes darted to Laura, then back to Leo, her voice trembling. "I was following protocol," she said, her tone defensive. "We're trained to prioritize high-value clients. I didn't mean to offend." Leo raised a hand, his voice steady. "Protocol's one thing, respect's another. You sized me up the second I walked in, hoodie, boots, scarf, and decided I didn't belong. What's that say about your protocol?" Marcus, the young salesman, shifted uncomfortably, his eyes flicking to Sophia. He'd seen her dismiss customers before, but this was different. Leo's words cut deeper, exposing a flaw in the dealership's core. Tina, the employee by the coffee station, whispered to her colleague, "He's not wrong. She's always quick to judge." Sophia's cheeks flushed, her voice rising. "I manage a multi-million-dollar showroom," she said, her clipboard a forgotten prop. "I have to make quick calls. You looked like you couldn't afford a tire, let alone an Aurora X." The room gasped, the bluntness of her words hanging heavy. Marcus winced, muttering, "Oh, man, she didn't just say that." Even the customer filming nearby lowered his phone, stunned. Leo's eyes narrowed, but his voice stayed calm, almost gentle. "And there it is," he said, stepping closer. "You think money looks a certain way. But you know what, Sophia? I learned from my dad, guy who worked 3 jobs. Never owned a suit. That respect doesn't care about your outfit. Or your bank account." Laura's brow arched, her tone dry. "Sounds like we got a culture problem, Leo. What's her next move?" Leo turned, his gaze sweeping the showroom, taking in the employees' nervous faces. "Gather everyone in the conference room," he said, his voice carrying a quiet authority. "We're having a talk. Now." As employees began to move, Sophia hesitated, her voice barely audible. "Mr. Kane, please let me explain." "Save it for the meeting," Leo said, his tone firm but not unkind. He noticed a small leather notebook on the floor, half hidden under Sophia's clipboard. He picked it up, flipping it open, his brow furrowing. Pages of handwritten notes detailed client profiles, descriptions like casual attire equals low budget and avoid wasting time on non-VIPs. His jaw tightened. "What's this, Sophia?" Her eyes widened, her voice a gasp. "That's private," she said, reaching for it. But Leo held it up, his expression darkening. "Private," he said, his voice low, cutting. "You've got a playbook for judging people. Messy hair, no sale. Boots, redirect to pre-owned. This why you were so quick to write me off." Sophia's face crumpled, her voice shaking. "It's just notes," she said, her hands trembling. "From my old boss. He taught us to prioritize." "Enough," Leo interrupted, his voice steady but commanding. "This ends today. Marcus, Tina, everyone, conference room. We're fixing this." Marcus nodded, his voice low. "Yes, sir," he said, his eyes bright with respect. Tina and her colleague hurried to comply, whispering, "This is huge." The customer with the phone slipped out, already posting his video, the drama too big to contain. Laura pulled Sophia aside, her voice a hiss. "You're lucky Leo's giving you a chance to speak," she said. "That notebook? It's a liability. Start thinking about how you're going to make this right." Sophia nodded, her eyes glistening, her voice barely audible. "I didn't mean for this," she said, her hands twisting. I was doing my job." "Your job," Laura said, her tone sharp, "is to treat every customer like they matter, not just the ones in suits." Leo led the way to the conference room, his scarf trailing like a banner. Marcus fell into step beside him, his voice a whisper. "I knew you looked familiar," he said, a shy grin breaking through. "Saw you in a Forbes article. Didn't say anything 'cause, well, I figured you had a plan." Leo's grin returned, softer now. "Good instincts, Marcus," he said, clapping his shoulder. "Stick around. We're gonna need people like you." The conference room loomed ahead, its glass walls reflecting the showroom's glow. Employees filed in, their faces a mix of nerves and curiosity. Sophia trailed behind, her usual poise replaced by a quiet dread, the notebook's discovery and noose tightening around her. Leo stood at the door, his eyes scanning the group, his fountain pen a silent vow to honor his father's lessons. He wasn't here to tear anyone down. He was here to build something better, to root out the biases that poisoned his dealership soul. As the door closed, the showroom fell silent, its gleaming cars now mere props in a story far bigger than sales. Leo's revelation had cracked the facade, and the real work, rebuilding a culture of respect, was about to begin. 111. The conference room of Elite Autos was a sleek, glass-walled chamber, its modern design meant to impress. But today it felt like a pressure cooker. Employees filed in, their footsteps muffled on the plush carpet, their faces a mix of apprehension and curiosity. Leo Kane, 42, stood at the head of the long mahogany table, his tousled hair and velvet vest now a symbol of authority rather than eccentricity. His father's engraved fountain pen rested in his pocket, a quiet anchor for the words he was about to deliver. Sophia Bennett sat near the back, her blazer still sharp but her posture slumped, the leather notebook of her client profiles now in Leo's hands, a damning testament to her missteps. Laura Hayes, the regional director, leaned against the wall, her green eyes scanning the room, ready to back Leo's play. The air was thick with tension, every employee waiting for the fallout of Leo's bombshell revelation. Leo cleared his throat, his voice calm but resonant. "Thanks for coming on short notice," he said, his gaze sweeping the group. "For those who don't know, I'm Leo Kane, the new owner of Elite Autos. Today, I came in disguise not to trick anyone, but to see how this place runs when nobody's watching." Murmurs rippled through the room. Marcus, the young salesman, sat up straighter, his eyes bright with respect. Tina, near the front, whispered her colleague, "He played us all," her tone a mix of awe and nerves. Leo held up Sophia's notebook, his expression serious. "I found this," he said, flipping it open. "Notes on how to profile customers. Casual clothes, low budget. No shoot, no chalet. This is how you've been trained to judge people. And today you judged me." Sophia's face flushed. Her hands clasped tightly. "Mr. Kane," she said, her voice shaky, "those were my old boss's methods. I was just following what worked." Leo's eyes met hers, steady but not unkind. "Worked for who? Sophia? Not for the guy in the hoodie who might have been your biggest sale. Not for anyone who doesn't fit your checklist." Laura stepped forward, her voice sharp. "That notebook's a lawsuit waiting to happen, Sophia. You're lucky Leo's here to fix this, not fire you." Sophia's eyes glistened, her voice barely audible. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone," she said, her hands trembling. "I thought I was protecting the dealership." Leo raised a hand, his tone firm. "This isn't just about you, Sophia. It's about a culture that lets this happen. My dad taught me something. Guy who never owned a fancy car, worked his whole life to give me a shot. He said respect doesn't care about your clothes or your cash. It's about character." Marcus nodded, his voice hesitant but clear. "Can I say something, Mr. Kane?" Leo gestured for him to go ahead. Marcus took a breath, his eyes flicking to Sophia. "I've been here 6 months. I've seen customers, students, artists, walk out because they felt judged. Last week, a guy in a cap like yours came in. I showed him a sedan, but Sophia redirected him to pre-owned before I could close. He bought a car somewhere else. We're losing people because of this." The room shifted, employees exchanging glances. Tina spoke up, her voice nervous. "Marcus is right. I felt it too. But it's hard to push back when that's how things are done." Leo's expression softened, his voice steady. "That's why we're here, to change how things are done. I'm not here to point fingers. I'm here to build a place where everyone who walks through those doors feels valued. No exceptions." Sophia's head bowed, her voice a whisper. "I messed up, Mr. Kane. I judged you, and I was wrong. I'm sorry." Leo studied her, his tone gentle but firm. "Thank you, Sophia. Admitting that takes guts. But sorry's just a start. You've got a chance to do better for yourself and this team." Laura crossed her arms, her voice dry. "What's the plan, Leo? This culture didn't form overnight, and it won't change without work." Leo nodded, his scarf swaying as he leaned on the table. "Starting today, we're rolling out new training, focused on respect, inclusion, and listening, not judging. I want every employee to know that a customer's worth isn't in their outfit or their wallet. It's in their trust." Marcus raised his hand, his voice earnest. "What about us? The sales team? Can we have a say in how things change?" Leo's grin returned, warm and genuine. "Hell yeah, Marcus. I want your ideas. You're on the front lines. You see what works and what doesn't. Let's build this together." Tina hesitated, then spoke, her voice stronger. "I've got an idea. Maybe a welcome protocol? Like every customer gets the same pitch, no matter how they look. No redirecting unless they ask." Leo pointed at her, his eyes twinkling. "That's the spirit, Tina. Write it up. We're starting fresh." Sophia lifted her head, her voice trembling but resolute. "Mr. Kane, I want to help. I know I screwed up, but I've run this place for years. I can make it right if you'll let me." Leo studied her, his voice calm. "I believe in second chances, Sophia. But it's not about words. It's about actions. Show me you mean it." She nodded, her eyes earnest. "I will. I promise." Laura stepped forward, her tone brisk. "I'll oversee the training rollout, Leo. And Sophia, you and I are meeting tomorrow to review that notebook. Every page." Leo turned to the group, his voice rising with purpose. "This dealership's got a reputation for excellence. But excellence isn't just shiny cars. It's how we treat people. If you're not on board with that, there's the door. If you are, I'm with you every step." A murmur of agreement spread, louder, more genuine. Marcus grinned, whispering to Tina, "He's the real deal." Even Sophia straightened, a flicker of resolve in her eyes. Leo's gaze softened, his voice warm. "All right, let's get back to work. We've got a dealership to rebuild and a lot of customers to prove ourselves to." As the employees rose, the room buzzed with a new energy, the weight of Leo's words settling deep. The culture of Elite Autos was cracked open, and the path to change, hard but possible, lay ahead. The conference room doors swung open, and the employees of Elite Autos spilled back into the showroom, their faces a mix of resolve and uncertainty. The gleaming cars, once silent judges of wealth, now felt like a backdrop to a larger mission. Leo Kane, 42, lingered at the head of the table, his tousled hair catching the light, his velvet vest and scarf a quiet rebellion against the dealership's old norms. His father's engraved fountain pen rested in his pocket, a talisman of the values he'd fought to instill. Sophia Bennett, her blazer slightly rumpled, walked out last, her sharp blue eyes clouded but determined. Laura Hayes, the regional director, gave Leo a nod, her expression one of quiet approval. The air buzzed with a new energy, the weight of Leo's words, respect, inclusion, change, still echoing. Outside, the sun dipped low, casting golden streaks across the lot. Leo stepped into the showroom, his boots scuffing the polished floor, and paused by the Aurora X, its silver curves gleaming. Marcus approached, his voice hesitant but warm. "Mr. Kane, that was incredible," he said, a shy grin breaking through. "I've never seen anyone call out the system like that." Leo's lopsided grin returned, his rings glinting as he clapped Marcus's shoulder. "Call me Leo, kid. And it's not about calling out, it's about building up. You're part of this now. Got any big ideas?" Marcus's eyes lit up, his voice eager. "Yeah, actually, what if we had a community day? Invite everyone, students, families, anyone, and show them we're not just for the rich. Like, make it fun, not so easy." Leo pointed at him, his scarf swaying. "That's gold, Marcus. Set it up. You're on point for this one." Tina, overhearing, chimed in, her voice bolder now. "I can help with that," she said, stepping closer. "Maybe at a workshop, teach people about cars, no pressure. Show we care." Leo nodded, his eyes twinkling. "Keep it coming, Tina. This is how we change the game." Sophia lingered by the coffee station, her clipboard abandoned, her face a mix of shame and resolve. She approached Leo, her voice low. "Mr. Kane, Leo," she corrected, her hands twisting. "I meant what I said. I want to fix this. I've been running this place on autopilot, following old rules. I can do better." Leo studied her, his tone gentle but firm. "I believe you, Sophia. But it's not about fixing it for me. It's about every customer who walks through those doors. You ready to lead that change?" She nodded, her eyes earnest. "Yes. I'll start with the team. New protocols, like Tina said. No more profiling. I'll make sure it sticks." Laura, joining them, crossed her arms, her voice dry. "You've got a lot to prove, Sophia, but I'll be watching. Leo's giving you a shot. Don't waste it." Sophia swallowed, her voice steady. "I won't. Thank you, Leo." A week later, Elite Autos buzzed with a different kind of energy. The showroom hosted a launch event for a new hybrid model, but it wasn't the usual champagne and suits affair. Marcus's community day idea had taken root, with families, students, and locals milling about, kids marveling at the cars while parents chatted with staff. A small stage stood in the corner, and Sophia stepped up, a microphone in hand. Her blazer swapped for a simple blouse, her demeanor softer. "Welcome to Elite Autos," she said, her voice clear, a slight tremble betraying her nerves. "I'm Sophia Bennett, and I owe you an apology. We've not always treated every customer with the respect they deserve. That changes now. This dealership is for everyone, and we're committed to proving it." The crowd murmured, some nodding, others skeptical. Leo, standing at the back in his scarf and vest, gave her a small nod, his grin warm. Marcus, beside him, whispered, "She's doing it. She means it." Sophia continued, her voice stronger. "We're launching new programs, workshops, open days, and a promise. No matter who you are, you're welcome here. Thank you for giving us a chance to do better." Applause broke out, tentative at first, then hearty. A young woman in jeans approached Sophia after, her voice shy. "I came here last year and felt ignored. Thanks for saying that. I'll come back." Sophia smiled, her eyes glistening. "Please do. We'll be ready for you." Leo watched from the sidelines, his pen in hand, his heart full. Laura joined him, her tone teasing. "Not bad, Kane. You turned a disaster into a movement." Leo chuckled, his scarf swaying. "Just getting started, Laura. This place is going to be more than cars. It's going to be about people." Months later, Elite Autos thrived, its reputation shifting from exclusive to inclusive. Marcus led the Community Day program, now a monthly event, while Tina's workshops drew crowds. Sophia, true to her word, rewrote the training manual, her once rigid demeanor softened by a newfound humility. Leo dropped by often, sometimes in his vest, sometimes in a suit, always with a grin and a challenge to keep pushing forward. One evening, as the sun set, Leo stood in the lot, watching a family test drive a sedan, their laughter echoing. He twirled his father's pen, his voice a whisper. "We did it, Dad. Built something real." Elite Autos wasn't just a dealership anymore. It was a beacon of respect, a place where every customer, from scarf-wearing dreamers to suited tycoons, was seen for who they were. Leo's vision, rooted in his father's lessons, had taken hold, proving that change, though hard, was always worth fighting for. The story of Leo Kane and Elite Autos is a powerful lesson in dismantling prejudice and fostering respect. Leo, with his Johnny Depp-esque style, tousled hair, velvet vest and scarf, entered his own dealership incognito, only to face Sophia's snap judgment based on his unconventional appearance. His journey exposes how biases, often ingrained in systems like Sophia's client profiling notebook, rob people of dignity and opportunity. Leo's calm defiance and revelation as the owner teach us that true worth lies in character, not clothes or status, echoing his father's wisdom that respect is universal. Sophia's transformation, from rigid gatekeeper to humbled leader, shows that change is possible when accountability meets opportunity. Marcus and Tina's contributions highlight the power of collective effort in reshaping a culture. This tale urges us to challenge assumptions, listen beyond appearances, and build spaces where everyone feels valued. It's a call to action. See people for who they are, not what they wear, and champion inclusion in every interaction. Did Leo's story spark something in you? Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more tales that challenge norms and inspire change. Hit the bell to join us for the next unforgettable story.